YouTubers, it's Red Blonde doing another video. We're on video 4. Turn that down a little. Excuse me. Video 4 of JFK Jr. and knowing the truth through his spirit and his words. As we all know, he died in a plane crash. And I want to mention some words that he gave me. I'm going to continue on. What I found, the next word was radio frequency. No idea what that meant, so online I did connected the words, and this video is going to be based on what I just found. It's the crash of JFK, radio frequencies to look for online. I am totally shocked with what I found. Is the tattoo1009.com. We have an interesting article that you need to go to read, and it was posted this year, last year, 2014. Well, it will be tomorrow. And JFK Jr. /S/crash/still/a/mystery. You have to see that website. And under radio frequency, through the spirit, I came up with an electronic magnetic radio frequency phenomena. So you have to read that article. And also read the JFK Jr. /Truth2. So it's truth11.com/tag/JFK/Jr. So you want to read that article online. And it's the man crush on JFK Jr., the Daily Beast, radio frequency to law enforcement. There's an article online about that. And basically, I pulled up one of the stories posted online that I'm going to read, which is very interesting. Okay, so let's get started because it's kind of long. So this is what I found through the spirit. This is not something I researched prior. If you see the videos, you'll understand. But Truth Seeking by Red Blonde, JFK Jr. Spirit. Okay, most families are well-known politicians killed in accidental plane crashes were not afforded the opportunity of having a separate outside agency like Division 4 to investigate the evidence of their loved one's death, as in the case of the son of an assassinated president. The Prelim report summary is revealing. Okay? Subject was a qualified pilot in control of his flight, flying a reasonably new aircraft in excellent condition. Visibility was 8 miles. Wind calm and identification from forensic and physical evidence investigations lend themselves to a violent explosion, either from an altitude or barometric pressure device, or from a particular beam laser. Delbert said particle beam lasers was left out of final classified reports. Aircraft broke up in midair and evidenced by widespread debris gathered from the ocean and several different beaches. I'm a New Englander, and it was a beautiful day that day. I'll continue on. This can only be caused by an onboard explosion or an attack by a missile or laser. Delbert said missiles and lasers were left out of the final report, considering the nature of the current political learnings of subjects in today's political atmosphere in America, and before mentioned facts, there's a little doubt the subject was assassinated. The fact team, Interpol serial killer Alpha team, considers this a political assassination of the highest order. It was meant to alleviate a potential threat in the ruling elite, and exceeded. From the JFK Jr. preliminary report filed on July 19, 1999, this document has been authenticated by several intelligence agents, and we're told copies have been passed around the intelligence community for several years. 4 team members and 2 from another U.S. law enforcement continues on. I'm just giving you a brief reading from the website that I found under the word from JFK Jr.'s spirit. So, we'll continue on. So the lies that you've been told, Martha's Vineyard is very dark and won't show through the haze. That's one line. Fact that may have been true only a few months ago, however, is evidenced by a letter to the editor of Martha's Vineyard Times. Just days after JFK Jr.'s crash, new lights installed on the island, lights that point up to the sky, are so bright they are drawing complaints from the island residents. So put that in consideration. Several witnesses claim they heard an explosion before Kennedy's plane crashed. And where are those witnesses? We don't know. They weren't mentioned in the media. While John Fitzgerald Kennedy Jr. was reported to have died in the accidental plane crash on July 16th, Division 4's preliminary report revealed careful details. Disclaimer that those reported by news outlets indicated that the scene described in its report as classic media disinformation, if not outright lies, pertaining to suspect circumstances surrounding the death of the only son, President John F. Kennedy, who was himself assassinated on November 22nd, 1963. A similar investigation followed. Fact. The radar track showed him flying at proper altitude. Then, on ABC News, put it falling out of the sky. The lie you've been told, JFK Jr. lost his instruments, and that is why he could not handle the dark and hazy conditions? Fact. The fact is that the radar was getting good data from the encoding altimeter proved his instruments were operating. The lie you've been told, JFK Jr. would have lost his artificial horizon and the vacuum pump failed in the aircraft. Fact. MSNBC, the only media outlet to have tried to hype this one, using a self-proclaimed aviation expert. This claim is also false, as there is a backup vacuum system in the pilot assembly on the aircraft. The lie you've been told, JFK was a reckless pilot. We all know that's a lie. Fact, the claim was planted everywhere in the media, always attributed to an unnamed source. One reporter, Cindy Adams, of the New York Times, I have to he had more than 1,000 hours in, and he was more complacent. The lie you've been told, the weather was very hazy. The weather conditions that night in the weather report mentioned on UPI's hurry called for an 8-mile visibility. One witness on shore reported that there was very little haze and that standing on the shore, he could see airplanes out over the ocean on approach to the island, proof that airplanes on the approach could see the shore. The claim is backed up not only by the weather report of 8-mile visibility, but by a weather radar image taken in about the time of the crash. The radar image is showing haze and fog along New York and Long Island. If the radar image were of clouds, the FAA would not have declared VFR flying conditions that night, but none at all at Martha's Vineyard. On the morning after the crash, CNN reported the weather could be ruled out as a factor in the crash. So, again, a fact, JFK Jr.'s conversational tone on the radio reveals that he was calm. He was not disorientated. He didn't ask for directions. He didn't indicate he had any problem at all. He clearly was confident, and he was going to find the airport and land. The lie that you've been told, JFK Jr. stalled the plane. Fact, the radar track shows that he was well above the stall speed. Fact, there is no reason for JFK Jr. to have been in any turn at all at the point on the flight path leading into the airport. He was already lined up at the main runway at Martha's Vineyard Airport. The lie you've been told, JFK Jr. didn't know his altitude and simply flew into the ocean. We have a lot of mixed lies here. And it's much to say that the truth be told by a credible person like JFK Jr., George Bush Sr., For one, Bush was very high-ranking in the CIA at the time of the president's murder, and without a doubt had first-hand knowledge of the event in Dallas. In spite of Bush's denials about the whereabouts of November 22, 1963, there is a photograph proof that he was not just only in Dallas, but was at the crime scene last. To start with, let's look at the facts and compare it with the lies of the media wants you to believe surrounding the murder of JFK Jr. The lie you've been told, JFK Jr. was lost. Fact, when JFK Jr. radioed controllers on the tape as reported on Boston TV News to announce his approach to Martha's Vineyard, radar showed him to be just where he stated he was at the correct altitude for the approach. The lie you've been told, JFK Jr. was in over his, got the pages mixed up, but there you can see it does reflect too about the lies the media gave you concerning his father, and there's a picture of Bush here, back in the 60s, concerning his father, and the report here, it says that the fact that John Jr. kept to himself for the most part. The one thing he did that he signed his death ticket was become publicity interested in who killed his father. So he wanted to expose who killed his father. JFK Jr. was publisher of a political magazine named George, which we're aware of. It was a publication that was targeting the younger generation. Just before his murder, John Jr. was in the middle of an expose about the real conspirators of his father's murder. The word is he was going to name the names of those involved, which he has given me names in the earlier videos, so that's connected the dots. Even though most people are dead and are involved in the president's murder, there are still some around that have information. Okay, in politics, nothing happened by accident. If it happened, you can bet it was planned that way. Franklin D. Roosevelt. He quoted that. With that in mind, once you look at the facts of John's death, it looks to be a well-planned murder, just like what happened to his father. There are no accidents. Happenings like this, one with JFK Jr., are the result of diabolical plans. To start with, let's answer the question. Who would want to kill JFK Jr.? He didn't go down the same path as his dad. He had no real known enemies. JFK Jr. was going to run for president. He also was ready to expose those who really killed his father. This is why he was murdered by the same factions that murdered President Kennedy 50 years ago. So there you go. And this was an article that was online, and as you can see, as you've seen my videos, I've came to the same conclusion, and I didn't do any research and read any of these articles prior to my questioning through the spirit, and his father's, as well as JJ's words through the spirit, are all coming to the same conclusion. It was definitely a diabolical murder. And just a little bit of more from the papers I got online. The New York Post later had cause to suspect that she denied too, so did Andrew Goldman at the New York Observer. Interviews with individuals directly familiar with JFK Jr.'s flying ability, shown in Inside Edition, confirmed that he was a highly skilled and careful pilot. And the lie you've been told, JFK Jr.'s wife was afraid to fly with him. Fact, again, a story attributed to unnamed sources, and again debunked by the interviews shown on the Inside Edition. JFK Jr.'s wife had no problem flying with JFK Jr. and flew with him on. And he had 40 hours in one aircraft. His total experience was about 300 hours, more than enough to qualify him to be a commercial pilot license. According to FAA statistics, 300 hours made him a more careful and safer pilot. And additionally, he was mentioned to have more hours than that, and was known that he could possibly be a flight instructor. So, no questions there. So if you want to read more on this article, it's about 43 pages. I only brought up a few to read to you. And these all came forth from the word that JJ gave me in spirit. So there's no question he wants to make this known so everyone can know the truth. And that was through the word radio frequency. Also, like I said, under those websites that I gave you at the beginning, please go read them because they are about how magnetic radios can work and shut down planes to harm someone. Conspiracy, definitely. And if you want to read more on the article I was just reading, go to the Conspiracy Zone at msn.com. Alright, so we'll end this video, and I'll continue looking up more words in the spirit of John F. Kennedy Jr. speaking the truth. My red flip blog. Go to video 5, and we'll continue on more information I'm finding through the spirit in his own words.